Hey folks, just a reminder to check out my other channel, How to Rock Spirit, where I talk about everything under the sun, from astrology to mysticism to psychedelic yoga to practical materialism and philosophy too. Hope to see you there. Namaste. Hey, howdy, hey, folks. Welcome to another episode of How to Rock a Campfire. Today's episode is another tricky one. I've been doing some of these country tunes, and, people don't give these folky tunes enough credit anyway. This is anyway, John Denver is awesome. He's born in the year of the water ram. He's a ram like me. And us Rams really like this really sentimental kind of stuff, and it's usually very philosophical. I'd relate to a lot of the stuff that John Denver writes. And this is a beautiful tune. And his voice is awesome. He's got like this really deep, booming kind of country voice. So I'm going to teach you guys how to play this song. I don't have the best voice for it. I can't sing like he does, but I at least know the guitar parts. And then I'm going to show you guys a video of myself and my Aunt Cindy playing this song, except in the key of C, with a slightly easier version for guitarists who want to just sort of jump on playing tunes like this. But first I'm going to show you the way that John Mayer plays it. John Mayer. Jeez, the way that John Denver plays it. Okay. So there's three, well, the last version I'm going to show you is in a different key, but there's two ways to play the song in the key of G, which is the key that John Denver plays it in. So I'm going to switch, first of all, the song's in the key of G, but I'm going to play it in the key of, basically you could say, the key of D. That's what I'm thinking. Excuse me. So I'm starting the song off in the key of D because I'm on the 5th fret, and that would make my D chord. My D chord is a 4th tone higher than than the chord figure that I'm playing. What you're hearing is a 4th chord higher, because if I was playing a D without the capo, that's just your regular D. If I play it 2 frets up, that's an E. That's lifted up a whole tone. Brought up to the 3rd would make it F. If I play the D with the capo on the 3rd fret, that would make my D chord into an F chord. And then another whole tone from there would make it into the G chord. And G is the 4th in the key of D. So you're looking at a D chord, but what you're actually hearing is a G chord. G. When you ask how I've been here without you, right? And played in the key of D. When you ask how I've been here without you. So the melody is the same, right? And the pitch and everything. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that. So I'm going to play it with the capo first, and then I'm going to show you the tune without the capo, so you can know how to play both. Start off in the key of D. Yeah, it starts off in D, and it does that suspended 4th thing first. It's basically D suspended 4th, but you're also taking your 1st finger off, so that's like a G note, just like the high G note, right? So it's still D suspended 4th, like with no 3rd, you could call it. D, then D sus 4, no 3rd. So what I'm doing here is I'm accenting the notes on the D. I'm accenting the D note and doing like an up, down, right? Down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, 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 down, up. It's pretty much a constant down, up, now that I think about it. Down, up, 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 down, up. But the first down that I do, It's like a chuck, chucka, chucka, chucka. That first one is accenting the D note, which is the, the open D string anyway. When I say that this is I'm saying the chord as it is that you're seeing. Like, for example, this, I'm going to call this a D chord because it's the chord figure that you're saying. When I switch to the G, that's when I'm going to talk like it's actually in the key of G. So we're coming from our D chord. Then I'm going to use my pinky to go down to the 4th fret of the A string, which is the C sharp note. So it's sort of like we're playing an A on the face with a C sharp on the bass, right? Because, this 2nd fret of the G and the 2nd fret of the B string make the A, C sharp, and then the E is the high open E. That's the notes in the A chord, A, C sharp, and E, right? It's with a C sharp on the bass. So it's like an A with a C sharp on the bass, basically. We're climbing from the D, the A with C sharp on the bass, and then B minor. And then when we climb from the B minor down to the G, what I like to do is I'll go B minor and I'll accent the 2nd fret of the A string on that B minor. I'll accent it, and then I'll do an upstroke, and then I'll basically have like a B minor with an A on the bass really quick with an upstroke, with my first finger barring the high strings. Down, 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 down. Or anyway, what I always just try to focus on is the bam, bam, bam. And if you want, you can just hit like accent that note, then just hit like the first 3 strings after the A string. A, chuck, G, right? So you're going from the B minor note, B, A, G, and that's what climbs down from the, when you ask how I've been here without you, I would like to say I've been fine, and I do. Now we go to the G again. But we both know the truth is hard to come by. Climb down to the B minor. Oh shit, sorry. So they don't climb down to the B minor until right when he says, if I told, right? But we both know the truth is hard to come by. And if I told the truth, it's not quite true. Right? And we both know the truth is hard to come by. Down, down, right? And if I told the truth, it's not quite true. Someday, and A7th at the end. And that leads us back into our D. Some days are diamonds to the G. Some days are stone. Sometimes the hard times won't leave me alone. Sometimes the cold winds blow a chill in my bones. Some days are diamonds. Some days are stone. So what we're doing out there on that last part is going from the D and going to the G. Sometimes the cold winds blow a chill in my bones. The quick B minor, G. Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. And then if you want to do it the John Denver way, he goes D. He kind of climbs up with this funky chromatic thing that he's got going. D. Then you put your pinky, so it's like a D with an F sharp on the bass. And then what I kind of do for this part, he does some kind of fancy trick. It's like, it's more in the G part of the chord that you can kind of play this a little bit easier. But what I do for if I'm going to play it by myself with the capo on is I'm going to go D note, chucka, then pinky on the F sharp note, which is the 7th. It's not technically an F sharp in this key, It's the 4th fret away on the D string, the 9th fret, D, D, F sharp, then a little G style chord, which is basically an F brought up 2 frets, G, and then what I do is I use my pinky to go to 1 fret above the 3rd finger note, which is sort of like the G sharp in this case, leading up to the A, right? D, F sharp, G, G sharp, and then what I like to do is I'll hit that G sharp, and I'll try to only hit the B string and the G string. Try not to hit the high E string because you've got a G sharp in the bass, so that high G won't sound good. It'll sound like kind of dissonant or whatever, right? D, climbing up to the G, the F, G sharp, and then A. And then I kind of like slowly, I try to be soft in that A, and that allows me to go back to the D chord with a little bit of like, well, I try to be soft in A because it's a good transition coming from this style of a G chord. Because there's not very many notes you're only playing 3 notes on that last chord. Right? Now the face that I see in my mirror, right? And then that's when you would go down to there. So this is probably going to be the way of playing this song that I do in this song. If I were to do a cover of it, I don't know, maybe I would just play it in the normal. I just wanted to show you guys this in the key of D because I think that I'm pretty sure he does this. It does it with this added in the key of something. He does this added over top the regular chords in the song. So it's really cool when you've got 2 people playing guitar. One person's got a capo and one person doesn't. Okay, well you play it in D and I'll play it in G. And it adds a very rich textural difference to the tonalities of the guitars, and because you've got one person playing on a lower modality than the other person, it sounds almost like a 12-string or something, you know, like 2 completely different guitars doing the same melody. It sounds a lot richer. Anyway, so now I'm going to show you guys, after that last verse, they basically go back into the second chorus, right? Now this is the same old song, played in, still in the key of G, technically, but now we're doing it without the capo, meaning my fingers are you're actually going to be seeing a G chord. Oh, thank God it was a tape. When you so we start off in G. When you ask how I've been. Now the second chord that he does, if you're going to do this in the regular G chord, you can just do it as a D chord if you want to. I suggest doing it, like I'm pretty sure what John Denver does is that he has an F sharp, it's like a D with an F sharp on the bass. It gives it that down climbing kind of sound. Much more than when you just go from the G to the D. When you ask how I've been here without you. See, that'll do, because that's kind of like regular, that's the chords without the sort of what he does. But what John Denver does to give the second chord a bit more of a downer sort of sound, he goes to this, basically you do a D chord without your first finger. You do it with the last 3 fingers, right? Second on the E, 4th finger on the B, and the 2nd finger on the G. I meant the 3rd finger is on the E string. So you do your D chord with the last 3 fingers and use your free first finger to hit the 2nd fret of the E string, and try to get the fat part of your first finger to cover off the open A string so you can't hear it. So it's like a D chord on the face with an F sharp on the bass. When you ask how I've been here without you, I would like to say, right? When you ask how I've been here without you, I also want to show you guys that there is an even easier way to play the down sounding thing without actually going to this full D/F sharp, and it's just by simply playing, you take your first finger, put it on the second fret of the E string, and then you take your second finger and put it on the second fret of the E string, but you leave your third finger anchored on the B string. So this makes sort of like a G/F sharp. It's sort of like it's a G, almost a G major seventh, because that F sharp is there. It's like a G, it's basically a transition chord down to the E minor, right? That's like G/F sharp, and then to E minor. I prefer to use the D/F sharp. Anyway, that's what I always do when I play this song. User discretion, I guess, you know, use what your ear thinks sounds better. In my ear, I think that the D/F sharp sounds better. Anyway, so we're going from that G. When you ask how I've been here without you, I would like to say to the C, I've been fine, and I do. But we both know the truth is hard to come by. Now you go to E. And if I told the truth, that's not quite true. To the D7, to the G. Some days are diamonds. And what's cool when you go in this part of the song, in the chorus, on this part of the guitar, is you can go G, and then you hit like the B on the bass, so it's like a G with B on the bass. And then that's what leads into the C. That's that extra note that he adds in there. And so you want to accent it. You'll hit like the low G note, and then up, down, up. And then the B note, you accent it just by hitting that one note specifically with your pick on the A string, the second fret. Bow, and then ka-chucka, right? Bow, chucka, bow, chucka, to the C. Some days are stone. Someday the heart, and yeah, I like to go from that G, climb down to the E minor. Times A, won't leave me alone, to the D7. Sometimes the cold winds blow a chill in my bones. Climb down to the E minor, quick C. Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. So what I do for this part is I always forget to leave that one finger out. But at the very end, some days are stones. What I do is I do a regular G chord with my third finger on the E string. And I accent the G, then I accent the B, and then I come into a C chord G/C. It's a C chord on the face, but a C chord on the bass. And then I use my pinky to come up to the fourth fret of the A string, while this third finger is still on that E string to anchor it. It's sort of like a G chord /C. It's the C on the bass. Anyway, what I'm building up is you want to hear bow, 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 bow. That's when you're in the D chord again. Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. You got to do it with that. I got a habit of using this third finger, which isn't bad, but you can't do it in this part. G. Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. Now the face that I see in my mirror, more and more a stranger to me. So that is pretty much the whole tune in that key, in the key signature of, still in the key of G, but without the capo, right? The capo, when we did with the capo, we were in the key of D. So now we are back. Okay, so I'm going to play this song for you guys now this way, and then as a special surprise thing at the very end, I'm going to show you guys the version that myself and my Aunt Cindy play in the key of C, slightly changed up. but still has the basic feel of the tune. So now that I think about it, I'm going to do this song. I like to do this. I like to play the version of the song that I can play without a capo, because I don't always have a capo, you know? So we're going to play this song in the key of G. This is Some Days Are Diamonds by John Denver. Oh yeah, so if you're going to do the first acoustic part, I would do your G chord. With what I like to do for a G suspended fourth is I'll have my third finger on the E string, fourth finger on the high E string, on the third frets for each, and you can put your second finger on the second fret of the G string if you want, or the A string, second fret of the A string if you want. That'll make a regular G chord. But what I usually do is I just cancel it out by using the fat part of my third finger. It's just what I've always done for a G suspended fourth. And you're gonna go G. Then you put your first finger on the first fret of the B string to get the suspended fourth. And then you come into the regular G chord. When you ask how I've been, right? So sorry, I should have mentioned that. But anyway, now I've got the whole thing. This is Some Days Are Diamonds by John Denver. Is hard to come by, and if I told the truth, it's not quite true. Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. Sometimes the hard times won't leave me alone. Sometimes a cold wind blows a chill in my bones. Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. Now the face that I see in my mirror, more and more is a stranger to me. More and more I can see there's a danger in becoming what I've never thought I'd be. Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. Sometimes the cold winds won't leave me alone. Sometimes the cold winds blow a chill in my bones. Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. I haven't heard this song in a while. I don't know if he does like a solo here. Maybe he does like a G harp solo. I can't really think of it. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what he does there for a solo or whatever, but I think that he goes on that E minor to the A, leads back to the D. Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. Some forgot this part the first time, didn't I? God, I'm all over the place today. Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. Yeah, that'll do, folks. I seem to have forgotten this part. But anyway, yeah, you should be doing that for the first verse and the second verse. Anyway, I gotta practice this song more, God, because, like, I'm good with all the guitar and stuff, but it's just one of those things, I want to get it really tight so I can actually play it the whole way through. Anyway, folks, so that was Some Days a Diamond by John Denver in the key of G, the way he plays it. Now I want to show you guys a video of myself and my Aunt Cindy doing a cover of this. First I'm going to show you guys how we do this song in the key of C. All we really do is we're transposing it to basically all the chords are going to be a fourth up from what you just heard. But plus also we've basically simplified it the way my Aunt Cindy does it to a way in which any beginner guitarist can check out and listen to and see how to play it in an easier sort of way than the way that I just explained. And yeah, so it's in the key of C. When you ask how I've been here without you, I like to say I've been fine, and I do. But we both know the truth is hard to come by. And if I told the truth, it's not quite true. Lost my pick. Oh yeah. So yeah, instead of going to like the minor chord on that last part, we just basically go right to the D chord, which leads into the G7th, right? But we both know the truth is hard to come by. And if I told the truth, it's not quite true. Some days are stone. Sometimes the hard times won't leave me alone. G7. Sometimes the cold wind blows a chill in my bones. Some days are diamonds, some days are stone. So that's the whole song in the key of C. This is the key my Aunt Cindy sings it in. You'll notice it's like much higher, right? It's definitely in a weird register compared to what I'm used to. But you can change and cater any song to fit the register of your voice rather than blowing your voice out. This song is obviously because my Aunt Cindy's used to singing way up here. Because she's a girl and that's just where she sings. And I've got a much lower voice. I'm much more comfortable doing the song in the key of G, which is a whole fifth lower than what my Aunt Cindy does it in. So the point is that we can take any song and transpose it to fit our own vocal register rather than blowing our voices out trying to play in a key that we're not used to playing or that a key is too high or too low for us, you know? Music is our thing to employ. You know what I mean? We don't have to control our flow based on the theory. We can bend the theory to us because the music is our tool to use for our own soul expression. And the way my Aunt Cindy does it, it has its own signature, you know? So if anybody is a songwriter or somebody that does covers on YouTube and wants to do their own covers, but in a slightly different way than the person that wrote the song did it, then you can do that just by transposing the chords. This song is in the key of C, and the way John Denver does it is the key of G. Now C is the fourth of G. It's always going to be that many tones exactly away from the G chord. G is the first, A is the second, B is the third, C is the fourth, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, G, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, C is the fourth, right? So, so I'm playing, the C chord is the first chord I'm doing, and then, I've changed, we've transposed this, so we've lost a lot of the minor chords and stuff like that. We've basically lost all the minor chords. But this, my point is that you can take the C chord, which is the fourth of G. When you ask how I've been here without you, I would like to say. So the F is the fourth of the C chord, just like when you're playing the song in the key of G. When you ask how I've been here without you, I would like to say, right? That's the same, the C, just like how the C chord is the fourth of G in the key of G, the F chord is the fourth of C. So you would correlate the next chord in the key of C after the C in this part with the F. When you ask how I've been here without you, I would like to say I've been fine, and I do. Right? Same melody, same bones, just lifted up. It's gotten a facelift, so it's a lot higher for someone with a higher vocal register, right? Anyway, that's enough rambling on my part, guys. Thank you very much for watching my show. That was Some Days Are Diamonds by John Denver. It's funny how you got to really know the musical theory and stuff to really get a sense for what an artist is really doing in a song like this. And I find that, how would somebody write something like this without the musical theory, without like having a sense? It'd just be so hard to do it without having a good, knowledgeable sense of the chords you're going through. So I really suggest, that's why I'm teaching people these songs, because as a songwriter, if you know a lot of songs and you can go through a lot of different chord structures with all these different types and modalities of musical theory, eventually you're going to have played through so many different expanses of musical notation that when you're writing a song, you're going to have a whole, it's like you're adding paint to your little paint thing that painters use. I don't know what the hell you call it. But, every time you play a new song with one chord that goes to another one that you've never played before, that's adding a little bit of purple on your palette. That's what I'm thinking of. Put a little bit of purple on your palette. Now you can use that purple in whatever the next painting that you paint, the next song that you want to write yourself, Same thing with all the colors and all the chord changes that you could possibly do, right? It's especially good to have a knowledge of the chords that are changing from one place to another. Anyway, like I said, I've been rambling too much tonight. So that was Some Days Are Diamonds. Now you guys are going to hear of myself and my Aunt Cindy playing our version of this song as a cover right now, and I hope you guys dig. I want to play, or I guess I should say, I've been playing these songs with my Aunt Cindy because I really want to take advantage of her beautiful voice and the fact that she really loves these country tunes. I love John Denver, and I'm more of a rock and roller guy, but I love poetry. I love this soft, sappy shit. I'm a ram just like John Denver is, so I'm glad I got to do this song. Anyway, lots of love, guys. I'll see you next week.
Everything's
I love
going
John
on.
Denver, man.
Oh, yes. Me too.
He's born in the year of the ram, just like me.
Oh.
Yeah. And I like to do that, like, songwriting dealio.
Yep. Year of the ram.
Yeah. I can really feel that. Like, when you look at John Denver's songs, they're really, like, I don't know, I'm thinking picturesque and emotional. Like, they're these physical objects that have all this emotional attachment to them, kind of thing.
Might as well do you want to stay with that? Stay with this one?
Diamonds. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Okay.
It's very much about making you feel what he's talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Zap. Okay.
I think the high E sounds tinnier.
Do you want to give me any clips?
Big thing,
You don't want that.